Hi and welcome to Out Nerdy. I'm Paul. Well, I think it's fair to say that most modern television, or at least television in the genre that, I generally speak in, hasn't been great as of late. And the only thing smashing it at the moment is Reacher Season 2. Quite enjoyed Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. That's about it. That's Western. The Brother's Son on Netflix is quite good. I've not finished that yet, but I've enjoyed that so far. And then you have to go for Korean stuff on Netflix to find something truly good. I mean, I watch things and sometimes it's just plain rubbish. And I've always said I want to be fair when I do reviews. So, what's the answer to trash TV? Especially now, as last year they were on strike for 6 months of the year, so we're not going to get a great deal of stuff coming through this year, are we? At least that's Western from Hollywood. So let's go back to the past. Jump in the old DeLorean, get in the old time machine. And, well, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now, I'm not Marla. I can't do great in-depth reviews like he can. I also don't have the emotional connection that he has for it. I know I've seen interviews where he said it's his favourite media of all time. Now, I think I'm a bit older than Marla. Now, I was already in my late teens, early 20s when Buffy the Vampire Slayer came out. So, I'd already done senior school, as it's called in the UK. And it is called senior school, no matter how many times they try and change it. So I'd done all my schooling. I never bothered with college. So, from that aspect, it was just something to watch. But if I look back on it, when I look back on it now, 20 years later, I do find they had quite an impact. It was something that was slow building, for sure, and silent in the background as well. It crept up on me, so to speak. It's not like it was Star Wars, which, has been a big part of my life all throughout. So, Buffy's, there was just something to watch. I think it was Tuesday or a Friday on Sky. I can't remember. 8 o'clock at night, I remember that bit. So it was just something to watch. I never, obviously, it's had a huge cultural impact. A huge cultural impact. But as a personal level, no, I didn't think it did. But, when you're watching it, and sometimes you can just tell which episode it is. First 10 seconds, I know, it's, Jenny Calendar dies, spoilers. But let's be honest, you've all seen it anyway, haven't you? So, I'm not going to do the whole season in one go. I hope you enjoy what I talk about. We'll do the overall arc of the season, and then my favourite episodes. And in some seasons, there'll just be one episode that I really, really like. In others, there's more. Season 2, there's quite a few episodes I liked. Season 3, maybe only 1, 2. Lover's Walk in Season 3 for me is fantastic. Season 4, Pangs, brilliant. I really enjoyed where Angel's first time back to Sunnydale. Spike getting captured by the Initiative, and him at the part of the arc of season 4 is it's not him changing because he's still evil, but the moment when when he realizes that he can hit a demon, it's fantastic. I still get a buzz out of it even when I watch it now. So let's start with season 1. Right? So here we go. I'm going to say something controversial now. It may be out there. I'm going to suggest that most people, the overwhelming majority of the audience, let's assume they were female, but because that was its target audience, let's assume they were female. They didn't give a flying monkeys about the girl power in messaging. Controversial take as it may be, they were concerned about David Boreanaz. They were watching For Angel. Why? Because he's a good looking man. It's the same reason why did the boys watch Buffy. One, same as the girls, the writing is good. Boys didn't give a shit about the girl power in messaging. They watched it for Cordelia. They watched it for Buffy Summers. Yes, we can pretend all we want that it was all about girl power. And for Joss Whedon, it probably was. And for one or two girls, it probably did have an impact of girl power, whatever that is, to girls. But no. The overwhelming majority of people watched it because the actors were hot. And that is the same reason why a lot of women watch Reacher. Because Alan Richardson is built like a brick shit house. And they like that. And men watch it because it is beautifully, wonderfully violent. And because they want to be built like Reacher and to be able to do the same shit that he can do. That's how Hollywood works. We all like what we like. Yeah, for the most part, we're also attracted to it. The men will be attracted to the violence and the heroism of Reacher, and the women will be attracted to the physical bits. Just like people will be attracted to the females in Reacher, so what the men will be. Especially those who are old enough to remember her being in Smallville as Zatanna. Anyway, that's it for this controversial take. Is it controversial? I don't know. But anyway, let's get back on. So, Season 1. Now, obviously, first couple of episodes are just world building. What is it? Welcome to Sunnydale and then Harvest. I think it was. And I actually quite enjoyed them. Yeah, Welcome to the Hellmouth and the Harvest. So they're two very strong opening episodes. We obviously get introduced to Buffy Summers. Now, let's just quickly talk about the film. There is a film with the same title. According to Wikipedia, they're not related. It's not an official spin-off or anything. It's just Joss Whedon wanted to do it properly how he envisaged the film to be, but he didn't get what he wanted in the film. So Buffy's introduced to Sunnydale High. She gets taken under the wing of Cordelia. Now, Buffy was Cordelia at her original school before becoming the Slayer. So she doesn't exactly gel with her quite, straight at all, really. She's just polite. Instead, she gravitates more towards Willow, who, at this point in time, is obviously very shy and socially anxious. So they hit off a bit of a friendship. We then get an introduction to Xander, and then Jesse, who don't last long, so he don't really matter, does he? He doesn't last long, Jesse. But we meet Xander, who is the comic relief. He's about as funny as a kick in the bollocks in real life, let's be honest. But that's his role in it. He's a guy who thinks he's funny. For the first 2 seasons, possibly 3 really, to be honest, because Willow still gets a bit jealous in season 3 when Xander starts dating Anya. But for the first 2 seasons, 1.5 seasons at least, she's in love with Xander. She's got an unrequited crush on him, where he's all up on Buffy and she wants him. Not a love triangle at all, because Buffy makes it very clear that she's not interested. And also, we get introduced to Angel, who hands her a crucifix and just says, he's a friend. He doesn't say he's necessarily her friend, but he hands her the crucifix, and we know as the audience that this is Buffy's love interest for the first 3 seasons. Obviously, Angel still carries love for her, as we explore in the last episode of season 8. But by the time of the last season of Angel, we're skipping way forward here. But by the time the last season of Angel comes, she doesn't trust Angel Inc. because they've moved into Wolfram and Hart's building, haven't they? But Angel's clearly the love interest for her. And, the season overall is her coming to terms with actually having to be the Slayer. And the big bad of the season is the Master, who is an ancient vampire. And, among others, he's responsible for Siren Darla, which we find out in one of the Angel episodes. Not a Buffy episode, but... So that is a quick rundown of season 1, really. She having to fulfill her role as a Slayer, despite wanting a normal life. And this is one aspect of the great writing, and why it has had such a cultural impact is, she alone is the chosen one. She alone is the Slayer. She's manifest destiny to be this person, even though every fibre of her being screams she doesn't want it. And, some people may relate to that. I don't know. Especially if you're maybe royalty, or in certain religions where you're destined to be married off early in life, even though you don't want it, or your career has been chosen for you by your parents. You've got overbearing parents and they're insisting you're going to be a lawyer. That will have resonated with people around the world. So that's one of the, just a person wanting a normal life is one of the great cultural impacts it's had on the world. And also, let's be honest, before Buffy, vampire faces were rubbish. Since Buffy, vampire faces were rubbish, are rubbish, and will continue to be rubbish. Buffy, and by its impact, Angel, had the best effects when it came for vampires. Absolutely just tip top. Granted, the Vampire Diaries may not have had a big budget, but it was tantamount to just, colouring their eyes a little bit, where Buffy had the full, change from regular person to vampire. And it's brilliant. It works then, it works now, I don't care what anyone says. When it comes to the practical effects or whatever, they're the best. Absolutely. It must have took ages to, if they did it, a bit of time frame, bit of makeup frame, and to speed it up. So kudos for giving us, culturally an absolute diamond show, and from a physical, practical effects, even if they go on to CGI effects later, an absolutely the best vampire face we could ever have. Some of the other stuff not so great, but we don't care about that. We want the vampires, don't we? Anyway, so that's that. We get on the writing. Now, some seasons are stronger than others, let's be honest. Season 1, it's still finding its feet. We all know that. It's finding its feet, and there's only 12 episodes of season 1. So, it doesn't matter. We enjoy it. I enjoy it. And my favourite episode would be episode 7, Angel, where we get a bit of bit more history of Angel. We don't get the full lot. We don't get that until Season 2, we get little snippets of his past throughout, but the major flashbacks are in season 2, and the Angel show. We get some very, very good pre-Angelus Liam. That's what he's called. We get Liam, who before he becomes a vampire, he's lazy, he's a drunkard. He's possibly seeking the approval of his father, but because of the way he is, his father wants to love him and tries to love him, but he's a wretch and a waste to society at the point of where he's human. So we do get in this episode 7, we do get a bit of backstory about the curse of Angel, which, as we all know, he's cursed by gypsies, and if he knows a moment of pure happiness, he turns back to evil. Seems a bit of a weird curse, to be honest, to me, but the show came up with it, and it works rather well, especially with the way he turns evil again in season 2. So we're introduced to all the characters. Episode 2, it looks like the Master's going to rise, only for Buffy and the newly founded Scooby Gang, although they don't have that title yet, thwart his plans, and he's stuck where he is, and the rest of the season is him trying to get out. And so we'll just, overall, it ends with him killing her and she killing him, but Xander brings her back to life using CPR. But while she's dead, for later seasons, it triggers Kendra, the next Slayer. So, Angel episode, back to that. So, it starts off with the Master gets three vampires to kill Buffy, and Angel helps her out, and he gets a bit injured in the scrap, and they make it to her house. And she invites him in without hesitation, just like, just come in. She doesn't know he's a vampire yet. So, he hides up in her room. She heals his wounds as best she can. And he obviously is left in there during the day while she's at school. She comes back, thinks that he's been reading her diary when he hasn't. It turns out her mother was cleaning up and had a sneak peek, as parents, I'm sure I tend to do. Casey turns into a vampire face. She screams. He does one. And, the cat's out of the bag, so to speak. So she talks to Giles about it. And in this episode, we find out more about vampire. Not necessarily more about vampire lore, but it reaffirms what it's told us in the first couple of episodes. Once a person becomes a vampire, nothing's left. They may have the memories of the person they're inhabiting, but they're dead. The soul's gone, and they're a walking meat suit with a demon in control. That's how it is. So, because Buffy's confused about why he helped, they do a bit of research about how Angel comes to the shore in the early 1900s. Like I said, we do get a fantastic callback to Angel in the Angel show when Faith drugs him and she bites him, and they do the flashback of Angel, and we get the scenes from the early 1900s, the 20s, up to we get in Angel last season. He's forced to work for the government to help a submarine crew. And then we get Whistler, but it's a different Whistler. And he's helping against, where we get him up to speed, where he chooses to help Buffy. So, we get a brief breakdown of Angel, how he was the worst vampire ever, the demon with the face of an angel, Angelus. Although Angelus doesn't mean that, but I always thought it did, but it doesn't. Fucking trusting in pop culture, that's what that gets you. So we learn that, he shunned human society, other vampires, and chooses to live on rats. He chose to live on rat's blood. We see him hunting for rats until Whistler tells him to, blood bank. So Giles tells her there's nothing left. You have to kill him. Xander reaffirms this because Angel's competition for him, for Buffy's affections. We then cut to Darla, and she talks to the Master, and she's like, either we kill, she comes up with a plan where she explains they're picking us off one by one, we're all going to die. And the Master says, I sense a plan, do tell. And she says, we get Angel to kill Buffy, or Buffy to kill Angel. And how do we do this? Darla pretends to be an older college girl tutoring Buffy in Revolutionary History, I think it is. And she bites Joyce, but doesn't kill her. No, she bites Joyce. Angel interrupts. That's the one. She gets taken to hospital. Buffy gets the wrong end of the stick when she talks to her mum. Buffy assumes it was Angel, not Darla, so she goes to kill him. That's when we hear that, but Angel tells her about the curse. The gypsies conjured the perfect curse. Again, I'm not quite sure I understand it. Maybe someone can help me. I get it. He's supposed to be suffering in torment because his soul is back. But, how being happy makes that go away, I'm still a bit fuzzy on. But, he tells her what happens. Darla tries shooting at Angel. She tells him bullets won't kill him, but they do hurt. And it all culminates with Angel killing Darla, who sired him. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. He does that to kill Darla to save Buffy, and that's the episode. It's very strong for me. It's an episode I can just go onto Disney Plus and just rewatch time and again because it's just one of my favourite episodes. Yeah, I think it's one of the. It's all round good episode. It fills in a lot of blanks. It moves the story forward. It gives the Master more drive because he feels Darla's death, to get out. And it's not a perfect episode because it's still finding its feet at this time. But for me, it is one of the all-round ones. You can work it as either a standalone ep if you needed to, but it still fits into the overall narrative of the season, or it is a very important part of the narrative as well. So that's my favourite episode of season 1. Alright? I'm going to leave it here. What was your favourite episode of season 1? Is there more than one for you? Is the season overall great for you? I don't know. But that's it for me. Bye-bye.